The story takes place in a village that is surrounded by mountains. There is an earthquake and a siren sounds. The village is suddenly surrounded by a red sea of blood, and the rain and rivers all turn red.
And it brings kind of horror and death and a sense of mystery to the inhabitants. The people who live there take on an appearance that becomes less and less human. They turn into what's called shibito, or living dead. What you have to do is kind of survive against these shibito and find your way out of town.
This game shows events that happen over 3 days, involving many characters. Different characters have different feelings or patterns in various situations. This is just like the real world.
There's something in the air.
There's 10 playable characters in the game. Each of these different characters contributes something to unraveling the mystery of what happened to this town. As you play through with a certain character and you've completed a mission, it'll show you on the Link Navigator how you're progressing through the game. Things may happen simultaneously, but it's not a linear path. I think that's one of the things that make the game unique.
Sightjacking is affected by the Red Sea and allows the living dead to be able to see and use other people's sight. Using sightjacking, a player can see what his enemies are seeing and discover their patterns. With such important information, a player will be able to solve the mystery or plan strategies to escape and survive.
And one of the cool things about the feature is actually you can assign what you've seen through their eyes to certain face buttons on the controller so that you can come back to them as you're navigating through and keep cross-referencing where the shibito are. The game is a very serious game because the way that it's set up, you really can't see what's in front of you, and so being able to see through somebody else's eyes gives you so much more information to work with.
This game does not show where you are in the map. It's like orienteering using only a compass and a map. You're in the same situation in the game, but in a horror environment. I wanted to have players develop their imagination in this game.
Like sightjacking, maps are probably the second most important tool that you have to use as a player. It gives you a clear idea of what your surroundings are, where the shibito may be in reference to you, and then how you evade them a little more stealthily. This game is unlike most of the survival horror action games that we've seen out there in the past. It's not kind of a slasher game where the objective is to just button mash. You really need to think about what your next move is.
This is not an action or splatter horror game. I spent a lot of time making sure that the fear builds slowly. In this game, you have limited bullets in your gun. If you use them all, you won't have any left. I tried to make the game real, so you have to think. I also spent a lot of time making the story and setting accurate in order to make it realistic. We traveled all over Japan and talked to many people and viewed locations to add texture to the game. I have a sound producer background, so I worked hard to make sounds that express fear, especially the sound of the siren. It has to attract people and pull people. It has to grab people's attention. The red water is the key in the game. As the red water goes into the body, the player becomes less human. The water is very addictive. It has healing power, but with danger.
The incident that happened to this town is kind of based on folk tales and folklore from various Japanese stories in the past, and I think in that way it accentuates this realism that this sort of thing can actually happen.
What scares human beings is not knowing where you are or what is happening to you for 3 days. One of the scary things in the game is you are not shown in the map. Although the map is very elaborate and has good information, the game obscures the map by adding fog to it. That makes the game more realistic. Don't go for broke. Don't get into fights right away. You have to use your imagination as a viewer first. You should think hard about the game and plan how you will play with the items you have right now.
Use the map. Orient yourself. Know where you are. Definitely use sightjacking mode. You can't really survive the game without it. don't act foolishly. Making a break for it and running isn't gonna get you where you need to go because most likely you'll get spotted. So take your time. Study the patterns of the Shibito.
Some Shibito run fast or have guns. You have to be aware, especially of snipers. They shoot from a far distance, so you have to use the sight jacking to escape from them when they look the other way.
I think the coolest part about Siren is it's very innovative. It takes a survival horror game and almost redefines it, making this game different, making this game really cool. You play so many different characters and you have such a sense of different perspectives, and every character kind of has a purpose in the game. I think that this all contributes to just a different feel. You need to rely on sneaking and hiding and real stealth to get past and to survive.
There is a fear that other games do not have. That's what I wanted everybody to notice about this game. It's not easy to talk about your scary experiences. There are some elements I use to try to make it scary, but as a concept, I try to express closeness to real life. What is scary is the reality of the game.